Alright, you guys, today I am back with another video, and of course, like usual, spoilers, you've been warned. Now, yet again, apologies, it's been about 2 weeks since I uploaded, but I figured today is time to do the scaling for Sakura's opponent, and today that will be Benio from Twin Star Exorcist. Now, I'm excited to talk about this, mainly because I do love the Twin Star anime, and the mangas is absolutely fucking fire. And I just want to do this again, just because I couldn't really find anyone better for Sakura. But in otherwise, we're gonna know all this, and I'm just ready to get into it because it's been a minute, and I'm just ready to get into it now. I'm struggling today. Now, Benio for the most part doesn't really have a lot of stuff, at least by herself. That isn't until pretty much when the story actually takes the serious turn and introduces the character known as Ichika Yuto. Now, Yuto is essentially he is Benio's brother. And also, he's also one of the most powerful characters in the series. This Yuto is actually so powerful, in fact, that in terms of the overall strong characters on the hero side, that being 12 Guardian, he actually stands pretty much above all of them to the point he's actually able to battle toe-to-toe with even the strongest 12 Guardian later on in the series. But at this point in the series, consider I'm only doing 16-year-old Benio versus 16-year-old Sakura, this version of Yuto was actually so powerful that he was even able to destroy Sagan. Even when he uses 12 Guardian Talisman, which is boosts his power up by 36 times, which is an extreme good feat considering Sagan himself is blatantly stated to be the third most powerful Spirit Guardian, of the 12 Guardians, Of the 12 Guardians, and even he himself couldn't do anything against Yuto, even while Yuto was actually just casually playing around in his base form and just simply toying with Sagan because he was enjoying being able to essentially obliterate his former teacher. That is an extremely good feat for Benio because Benio, though she lacked the power at the time though she might lack the power in terms of attack potency to deal with him, she was still able to blitz him on numerous occasions to the point that he got so upset with her speed that he couldn't keep up, at least in his base form, that he just simply decided, after finding an opening in her, to just completely get rid of her legs by completely blowing them off. Which is absolutely cruel. And like I said, he decided to leave her just so the Kagure could devour her, which is cruel, but goodness gracious, it's still a good feat for Benio considering she was able to blitz him, showing that at bare minimum, at least her speed should be comparable to Sagan, if not even faster, which is extremely good. Considering we later find out that, or in that same fight, while she's about to be devoured, considering she has no legs, and the Kagure about to swarm her, another one of her great enemies, Kamui, the weakest Basara at the time, decides to show himself and actually decides to grant Benio more power. He then decides to grant her more power in the same form that Yuto did for Rokuro way back in the past, and decided to curse her with the power of the Kagure. And by doing so, it embellishes her with brand new legs that she will be able to use, and even in her human form, and of course, even a amplified version when she activates the talisman. And that, of course, was able to boost her power up by around 36 times. And it was actually able to boost her so much that even while before she lacked the attack pulse, just with this new power upgrade, she was able to actually go toe to toe and even completely abuse Yuto while in her base, while using this power. Now, granted, it did not last long because of weaknesses, but of course, just the fact that then using those legs showed that it is a 36 times multiplier, and it was able to body Yuto for a brief time until he got so annoyed to the point he finally, for the first time, utilized his full Kagure powers, or his full power in general, which then, of course, with using that power, he was able to effortlessly defeat Benio yet again, because obviously his power was just completely overwhelming at the time, and on top of which, Benio wasn't even in her greatest state, but still, just the fact that she was able, after gaining those legs, not only able to blitz him again, but now able to actually deal significant damage to him as well, to force him to go into a state, is extremely great, especially when you consider the fact that it was her first time using it. And so even though it didn't last long and it wasn't even perfected, she ended up stalling, and like I said, her legs basically stalled, kind of gave out on her. But still, it had to be saved by Rokuro using his great Yang powers, but still, nonetheless, she was still able to actually go toe-to-toe with Yuto, at least for a brief time, and actually did significant damage to him. Yet again, extremely impressive considering he bodied Sagan in his base form. So, that's extremely impressive. Her next situation that arises, at least that gives her another great feat, is when two Basara that came from the island decided to come to the mainland. These two being two more Basara named Higano and Hijimaru, the number 9th and 4th strongest Basara, which are extremely impressive. And I'm going to get into why them just having the title of a Basara is extremely important actually in a little minute. But just know that currently right now, they are the 9th and 4th strongest. Now, these two came to the island because Shino's sister essentially has the spirit guardian of Kizunoha, which of course endows her with a tremendous amount of spirit energy. And because those two are, or rather Hijimaru, I should say, is always on the prowl to get stronger and devour more spirit energy, they went from the island to come to the mainland. And in that fight, like I said, they ended up splitting up with Rokuro and Shino taking on the number 4th, while Benio deals with the number 9th alone. And in that fight, we find out that even yet again, she gets another compliment from the number 9 strong that says that, yeah, I could tell that you were the fastest amongst the three. One of those being a 12 guardian, which which is extremely impressive considering he was about the 5th strongest guardian at this time. And Benio, of course, she might have got slaughtered, at least that is, until she actually showed her imperfect, I would say, great yin form, which then allowed her to actually body Hagano for a brief time until he activated his his talisman as well, which is something that Basara have, which boosts their power up, very similar to how a 12 Guardians boost their power. So it's about another 36 time, and then they, of course, went and did a evenly matched battle with each other to the point where in the end Benio didn't actually defeat him, but still left him to the point the only thing he could do was use his remaining power to give to Hijimaru because he was just in that much of a weakened state. Yet again, that is extremely impressive because that means she's comparable to the number 9th Basara. The reason why this is impressive because Kagure on the island compared to the mainland is a completely different. The base Kagure is a entirely league on its own, to the point that one of the Kagure was able to destroy 70% of the population and island while on island while he was on island, while a powerful Kagure on the mainland can still be defeated quite easily. And yet again, that also goes into why the boss are impressive, because boss are very similar to the hollows in Bleach, and how they have essentially 3 different stages. You know, like your normal stuff like the Minnows and basic hollows, similar to basic Kagure. Then you have like your Huchas, or at least they call it Huchas in Bleach. And Twin Star, they're more like, those are just Kagure that finally devout enough spirit energy to the point they have sentience to the point they can speak and do everything else. Then of course, like in Bleach, you have Bastolores, or in this case, you have Basar, which is a entirely different level compared to the Basar that broke through the barrier and was able to demolish 70% of the population in the island on Tsukumoto Island. And like I said, they are a completely different level, which yet again, is extremely impressive considering that same Kagure is absolute fodder and is absolutely nothing compared to a Basara. Even the weakest Basara, being Kamui at this point in the game, would be able to pretty much one-shot that same Kagure by himself. And yet again, Benio's dealing with the 9th strongest, which is 2 Basara classes above even Kamui. So yet again, this really put Benio, at least in terms of attack potency, at her fullest potential anyway at this point in the series, around island level, just because she was able to compete with a Basara. Now, onto her speed. This kind of gets a little bit weird because I pretty much did this by lowballing her speed by comparing to some of the other people. So just kind of bear with me when I'm going through this. Now, the best way to calculate her speed would basically be to compare her to one of the weakest members of the 12 Guardian, where in a tournament that was going on the island, in one of his fights, he was able to move his strings and stuff at the speed of Mach 3. Which yet again, this is extremely impressive considering, like I said, he himself is actually the 2nd weakest amongst the 12 Guardians, and I say that Benio should be comparable to someone like Sagan and Shinon, who are at the top tier, which yet again is impressive because that means at his max potential, he should be able to move his strings at around 108 times the speed of Mach. Even though he was using it casually during the tournament, I'm still going to just say that he was going all out and say that his base power should be around Mach 3. And because of the talisman to date that all 12 Guardians possess to boost their power several dozen times, in the end, it equates to about 36 times, and Benio should be greater than that. So that means Benio should indeed be in that same ballpark. Now, the reason why this is the low ball is because Narumi himself states that essentially the bottom tier of the 12 Guardians are absolute fodder compared to those at the top. So fodder, in fact, that he says himself that they pretty much only act as support compared to the other ones. I mean, they do not hold a candle to the top tier Guardians. This is why I'm saying that it's an extreme low ball on my part, but I still have to go with it because it's pretty much the only blatant evidence we have in the series. But the best way to explain Narumi's example here is basically by looking at the Demon Slayer series. He's basically implying that they're going off of that same symptom where basically the bottom tier are like the lower moons in Demon Slayer, while those like Shinon and on up are really more like the upper moons. Narumi himself being about lower moon 2 or 1 at this point in the series, with Shinon and Sagan being about upper moon 5 and 3, which is, like I said, extremely impressive considering Benio himself, or Benio herself, should be comparable to Sagan at this point in time in terms of at least speed and even power by later on in the series. But this basically, to do the math for it, this would basically say that Benio should be equal to that Guardian who's that Guardian's level using his 12 Guardians, meaning her base speed should be around Mach 108. Yet again, just because before she even lost her legs to Yuto, like I said, she was able to blitz him on numerous occasions, dodge his attack. Though her swing, her sword skills and stuff did not have the attack points to deal with. We're talking about speed here, and so like I said, in terms of speed, being comparable to Sagan, even with a low ball, should say her base speed should be around 108 times the speed of sound. And then you stack on 36 times on top of that, considering when you use the talisman, as I stated in my Rokuro video and explained it a lot better in detail over there, that using those talismans and using the Curse of the Kagure should be equivalent to a Guardian talisman amp. So stack on another 36, and then stack on another 36 on top of that for her Great Yin form that we managed to see. And by the way, this was an imperfect form, by the way, and she was still able to match them. So yet again, when you do all the math for, basically Benio should be about 107 million, be able to move at 107 million miles per hour, or 487 times the speed of lightning at the end of the day in terms of her speed. And that's, of course, like I said, with extreme low ball, considering she should scale drastically above that level of speed, especially since speed is her prime go-to anyway. But either way, like I said, that concludes the video. Like I said, at the end of the day, Benio is a powerful exorcist who, in terms of attack potency, should equal about Small Island level, while her speed overall should be about 487 times with plus, at least like I said, using low ball. So I really hope you all enjoyed the video. So be on the lookout for the Sakura versus Benio video that I will be uploading later. And until next time, you guys, peace.